Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sabhavedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatosh Maham. Om. Just let me pause this just for 1 second here. Okay, so uh, we begin from class number 8. It goes for mantra 9, which says that which cannot be smelt by the breath, but by which the breath smells an object, that alone know as Brahman, not what people worship here and there. So Swami comes to say that basically with that mantra, the Kenopanishad is over. And but as we have seen, so the first chapter is all about those questions, which he points to the fact that Brahman is that which is behind the five senses, the five koshas, the three bodies, the entire universe. That is a principle that somehow pervades and holds it in place. So, and we cannot access Brahman by any of these five koshas or different states of the mind or five sense organs. So there is no way we can know objectively through the five sense and the mind. That's the point here in this Kenopanishad. At the beginning of this Upanishad, it does come because the student asks a very, very profound and sophisticated question, asking exactly that: what is the principle that makes it all possible? Yeah? What is this Atma? What is the divine principle? Those are the words used here. So it's named as Devaha, that because of which the innate body mind sense complex appears as if self contained with sentience, let's say. So the body mind appears to be a sentient principle, entity. But as we know, there is something behind it, supporting it, blessing it. Why? Well, how can we know that? Because we know that the mind is fundamentally inert. The only uh, the only property of the mind that may suggest that the mind is self-conscious is its reflectivity. It reflects consciousness with the aham, I am, I exist. And then we think that the mind more specifically, hooked up with the body, the mind has a certain consciousness intrinsic to itself. But as we know, consciousness is not intrinsic neither to the body nor to the mind. The body mind sense complex is fundamentally inert. There is a principle blessing the body mind with consciousness, with sentience. So this is something that we need to do nididhyasana upon until it becomes clearly recognized that I am what I am due to this consciousness that shines in my intellect as I am and I exist. And this aham needs to shift its sense of identity from the inert body mind to consciousness itself, its true conscious nature. And then the question presented by the highly qualified student is, what is this principle? The teacher gave the answer, even though he used an indirect definition. He can never, as we know, he can never say this is it. Like people having epiphanies with some of these Shaktipati gurus. Oh, this is it. No, there is no this is it when we try to recognize Brahman or consciousness, no? Because it can never be said to be this or that. Because this and that are always defined by attributes and qualities and properties. So guna must be involved to define things, but consciousness is not a thing defined by the, you know, by the gunas of Maya. So the teacher can present a beautiful, sophisticated answer in a very indirect way, as always. So it's the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, and so on. And then he goes on to say it's the non material consciousness principle. No energy is no material consciousness principle. A simple, straightforward statement. So, what is the divine principle that makes me a conscious being, a conscious existing being? It's a non-material principle. It's a non-energy energy principle. You know, it uses energy through the pranamaya kosha to sustain this body mind, but fundamentally is non-material consciousness. It is it is the presence of this non-material consciousness which is also called Chit, which is called also Chaitanya, which is also called Brahman Atma. Because of this principle and only this principle, the body mind appears as if conscious of itself and of its environment. But this consciousness is quote unquote lent by consciousness, or the body mind reflects it, which is the best construction. It somehow shines with consciousness the same way the moon shines with light in the night, in moon full moon uh, time. Here he says, just as the moon borrows moonlight from the sun, the same way the body borrows consciousness from the Atma. So the teacher, in a very nice way, points out that consciousness is the one, the principle, self-contained conscious existence principle, the only reality, bless the body mind, which conscious existence. But but the consciousness is not limited by the body mind complex. And there lies most of the confusion. People talk about consciousness as if it's something that it's a byproduct of the body mind. It's my consciousness, is the I and mind. Mamakara, ahamkara, mamakara. Therefore, Atma extends far beyond the body, as we know, is one consciousness blessing all body minds. In the Gita, Lord Krishna says, just as one space alone is enclosed in several compartments or containers, one consciousness alone appears as if enclosed in every body mind. But we know that that is an unsophisticated way to see consciousness. It's far from being closed into anything. Consciousness is not within any body mind. All body minds are within consciousness, appearing to be within body mind sense. Consciousness is not limited by the boundaries of the body. We know that, but we need to go into the individuation. This is not academically to be understood, but we have to understand that consciousness is just shining in my intellect, but it's all over the place. Oh, and then why it's not talking to you? It's here. It's reflect on air, space. No, it needs a subtle body. It needs a certain construct that produce a reflecting apparatus, and then it shines. Reflects or shines. I like the construction of something that shines every time it gets in contact with a certain construct. You know? This consciousness is also giving several different names, such as Brahman. And then Swami presents something very nice here, because we know Brahman has different meanings but it also means all pervading, all pervasiveness. So something that pervades everything is limitless by nature. It's vast, it's absolute reality. The word Atma is derived by several Sanskrit roots. There are different definitions. One of them is to pervade. Consciousness is subtler than space. Space is the most subtle principle in meteor, but there is something which is the space of the space, which is consciousness, the most subtle. Therefore, is that which pervades even space. Space needs consciousness, of course. Nothing escapes consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is nothing but the self, the Atma, which pervades everything. It's also known as Brahman, which is derived by the Sanskrit root Brahmati. It's also which is infinitely big, vast. The concept that Brahman has this sense of vastness, bigness, but it's not. It's limitlessness, which is a principle that pervades even space, going far beyond space. Space does not limit consciousness. So this is the consciousness that enlivens the body mind, but enlivens everything, even the rocks, even the inert objects in this universe, in the cosmos. They are in the subtle and in the material dimensions. They are all made possible by consciousness. When we say body mind, we say jivas, vegetal in the vegetal realm and the animal and so on. So every living creature is blessed by this consciousness, but also the inert objects are blessed by consciousness. Also, sat. So a rock does not have a subtle body, but has a physical body. So what is going to bless this material, physical, tangible piece of rock is the aspect of sat, of consciousness. Consciousness has two aspects to itself. One is the existence that lends existence to everything, and the other is the consciousness that shines in every uh, object with three bodies. So that way, the teacher has presented the divine principle as Brahman, and he makes a very strong point. Never try to look for consciousness objectively, because you don't have any instrument of knowledge which allow you to objectify consciousness. It's not that you do not have, there is no such a thing. There is no instrument of knowledge that allow you to objectify consciousness, not even the Upanishads. The Upanishads is a pramana that allows us to know Brahman, but not in an objective manner. There is no instrument, not even the pramana of the Upanishads will objectively reveal consciousness as an object of knowledge. It will reveal consciousness in a totally different way, which is not uh, objective. So, what is the bottom line at the end is Brahman can be known only by claiming is my very nature, is the very nature of the knower. I, the knower, in my true nature, I can never be known. I never come under the category of known objects. Okay? Because I'm the knower. The seer can never be seen. The experiencer can never be experienced. The knower can never be known. So the whole question is, and then how are you going to know? Oh, by claiming that I am the knower. But do you really know? The entire second chapter here seems to be a discussion around that. Is Brahman something knowable or unknowable? And the Upanishad here is saying that no, it's something other than knowable and unknowable, because you cannot really say I know it completely and clearly, because any clear knowledge, it's under the category of objective knowledge, that you can scrutinize until you know it very clear. But consciousness, we may claim I am this limitless consciousness, but yet everybody who is inclined to say I know, I know, I know, I know, more often than not do not know it. You may claim I am is my very nature, but the suggestion through this second chapter is like, you know it, but you don't know it very clearly, because you don't even know the nature, the true nature of Saguna Brahman, much less Nirguna Brahman. But you understood that you are made of the same nature. The divine principle is blessing every Jivatma, as every human Jiva. So we know that, okay? We know it thanks to the Upanishads, the scriptures, that they reveal it to us, and it resonates as the absolute truth. And not only that, it pacifies the mind like nothing else, okay? And takes away most of the problems and the fears and desires for more or other kinds of knowledge. No? So this is Sakshi Chaitanya. When we claim Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Atma Asmi, we have to claim only the consciousness part. And that is the trick I have been pointing out recently. Now, when we claim Aham Brahmasmi, we have to claim the the consciousness aspect, the divine principle aspect, without which the body mind sense complex is inexistent. Okay, so I have to claim I am the Brahman, but I should never bring the attributes of the body mind with me, because I would be transferring the attributes of Nitya to my nature Satya. So you must claim Aham Brahmasmi, but only the divine principle nature. You just say I am that divine principle nature, and I should never transfer the attributes of the body mind. I have to exclude the attributes of the body mind, because all of that are, is inert by nature. Okay? So the sense organs, the mind, the ego, all of that is no material. It is material by nature, inert by nature. So I'm claiming my true nature, my divine principle, my conscious principle, my self-contained existence. And then I should be very careful not to transfer none of those attributes of the gunas of Maya. I have to claim Aham Brahmasmi. Yes, knowing has to be in the form of claiming. This is the point Swamiji has been making since forever. You must claim. So how are you going to know Brahman? By understood that it's my very nature. And then you claim it without transferring any attributes of the body mind to that which is Brahman. Huh? So if we transfer the attributes of the body mind and we say Aham Brahmasmi, and I carry with you the attribute, what happens? Two things are going to happen. First, it's going to sound a little fake. And second, it's not going to give me a sense of freedom, because the moment I transfer some attributes of the body mind, I'm limiting myself, because all attributes are limiting uh, elements. If I believe like I am a wise person, I am great, or I am this, I am that, therefore I claim I am Brahman, big trouble. Huh? Because all of those attributes are going to be subject to modification, change, going up, going down, and so on, because they are going to be reflected by the state of mind we go through every day. But now I feel wonderful. I have this incredible understanding and insights and epiphanies, and then I say, yeah, I'm a great Mahatma. So that changes So Brahman, our true nature, is that which never changes, and you can never say that this is it. Like a wonderful epiphanies that people describe as enlightenment, you know. So the day you became enlightened, long ago, I got in contact with some new Advaita teachers, and there were some websites in which they inviting people to describe their enlightenment. And then there, it was all descriptions of epiphanies, you know. And I mean, it's so infantile once you come to the Upanishads, you know. So it's just a knowledge, and you know that, you claim that, but it has nothing to do with your mental state. It's just a knowledge. It requires a purified mental, uh, refined, purified body mind. But once this knowledge is gone, it's not subject to forgetfulness. And you don't confuse your true nature with your state. Even if your state changes, you know, you get irritable or anything, you don't have any doubt in regards to self-knowledge, because you know I am the unchanging adjustment base background on which the states of the mind travel. The teacher is trying to present this, communicate this teaching, is making an effort, and we know it's not easy to assimilate it. Now the teacher has to find out whether the communication has been successful. Therefore, we begin the second chapter in which the teacher wants the student to respond to the teaching. So now is the examination, the test. And a greater examination for the guru himself, because maybe the guru will say, so am I teaching it correct? So is it giving good results? So we find in the Kenopanishad the student happens to be very qualified, like all of you. Therefore, the student grasps the teaching very well, and he presents the answer also to the full satisfaction of the guru. Okay, he's anticipating that all is going to be good at the end. And by presenting an ideal model of highly qualified students, the Upanishad wants us to check it on ourselves. Am I really qualified? Am I like the Kena student? So we can honestly assess our level of qualification and check it up. Now, with this background, we enter the second chapter of the Kena, which is a very profound chapter. It goes even into being a very philosophical chapter, I would say. So the first is the teacher says, if you think you know Brahman well, then surely you know very little of it. I know it completely. Okay, and then chances are you know very little of it. If you say, I know, I know some things, you know, I know some attributes, I know some forms of Brahman, the vastness of Brahman. If you say, I know only some attributes of Brahman, and then again, you're in trouble with the teacher. And it says, so therefore, Brahman, this inquiry into the nature of Brahman is very much worse on your inquiry. Don't jump the gun and just say, like, I know, oh, I don't know, or I know it, but I'm transferring the attributes of the devas to Brahman. Therefore, I say Brahman is this and this and this. Even Satchitananda is so subtle, we may transfer that, believing that those are guna attributes as well. No, no, that's just a pointer to that, which is the only reality. Huh? So the teacher is expecting a response from the student, therefore, and before the student provides the response, the teacher gives a statutory warning to the student. Do not be in a hurry to present your reply. Take your time. Contemplate on it for a few days, weeks, or years before you come back to me. Uh, he says, Brahmayana or Atmayana is a totally different type of knowledge. Yeah? So therefore, every Vedanta student must change the basic orientation of his mind while inquiring into the nature of Brahman, while trying to assimilate the final declarations of the Mahavakyas, of the Upanishads. So it must change a common orientation, which is so profoundly hardwired. And then Swami presents this part of the teachings of the canon as something that requires a change of orientation. A conventional orientation will lead to a lot of misconceptions. Therefore, first we need to break the old orientation and establish a new orientation. Yeah? And it seems to be something old. We have heard about that and we know all about that, but yet it's so subconscious, so unconscious. The old orientation is driving us in a way. Although we hear, I know it's not an object of knowledge, but yet the orientation is to try to know Brahman objectively as something that you can say, this is what it is. So it's subtle, but there are superimpositions again and again when we do our manana and nididhyasana more often than not. What is our orientation? We should know. We classify all the objects in the creation in two categories, as we know. One is the unknown object. Why? Because I have never seen, I never heard. This is something totally new for me. You know? Therefore, this is unknown. I'm ignorant about that. So the moment that we say this is unknown, immediately we say, if it's unknown, I want to know. And then it is as well a known object. Okay? So if we say Brahman is unknown, and then immediately, unconsciously, subconsciously, there is orientation that says, okay, but I want to know. I want to make known the unknown. Huh? So that which was unknown, I want to get make it known, you know, by doing sadhana, by doing nididhyasana. I want to know Brahman. So there are two categories of objects of knowledge. One's the object that are unknown and those that are known. Huh? We want to learn about Brahman until I know it. How are you gonna know it? Oh, by seeing what the scripture says about Brahman. It says many things, but unfortunately, it keeps saying it's not this, it's not that, and indirectly, saying things that never really allows us to fully grasp what is Brahman. Huh? But I keep doing my study, and the orientation is I will make known the unknown. Huh? We want to shift the unknown Brahman to a known Brahman. You require a lot of study. Some people they have to become pandits and study for a lifetime and so on to know everything about the Brahma Sutras. And so all our cognitive pursuits are nothing but what? Shifting the objects from unknown category to known category. So in the world of scientific objective knowledge, everything we do is working on what we do not know so that I may get some knowledge in regards to that. Uh, And as we know, objective scientific knowledge, all of them are subject to error, revision, yeah, additions, and that may be frustrating, but that's what it is. Once we successfully learn something, and then it becomes known, after let's suppose after cognitive study, pursued inquiry, we do not understand whatever is taught. We will put that under what category? It's still unknown category. Thus, we keep everything in the unknown category. We keep on shifting from one category unknown to known. This is our orientation. I either know or I do not know. And then we come to Vedanta, and we heard that knowledge alone will give freedom. And then when we hear knowledge alone will give moksha, and then I want to know if I'm not experiencing a sense of freedom and limitlessness, and then peace, and then it means to say I need to know it better. Yeah? That's the orientation. That's the same thing with the science, astronomy, biochemistry, any subject matter. Having this orientation, we come to Vedanta, of course. And Vedanta introduced two words, Brahman and Atma, or Devaha, the divine principle. The moment we hear the word Brahman, what we will do? We take Brahman also as one of the objects of knowledge, and therefore initially we put it in the category of unknown. And as we have already established, if I put it in the category of unknown, and then I'm already making an effort to make it known. And this known object will never be Brahman, because Brahman is the nature of the subject. That is the orientation with which we come to Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. And while going through Vedanta sadhana, what is your orientation? Our orientation. The unknown Brahman one day will become known Brahman. After doing decades of sadhana, after doing a lot of Shravana, dhyana, and etc., I will succeed in transferring the category of the unknown Brahman to a category of known Brahman. So, I mean, it's so simple. It's put so simply, you know, and uh, and it is a fact what we see, you know. You want more knowledge, more knowledge. Knowledge is certain of a description done by words and sentence that try to point to Brahman. Although the scriptures say it's not an object of knowledge or experience, we construct it as an object of knowledge regardless. And then we are transferring, we are giving it a new status. This was unknown, now I know Brahman. I am Brahmasmi, I know Brahman, and I am Brahman. Brahman is my very nature. Would not that day come in which I can say, I know Brahman fully? I can categorize it as a known object. This is the orientation. We only transfer the unknown Brahman into a known Brahman. But the teacher in the first chapter has broken that orientation, has made an effort to, has warned the student, watch out what you say, huh? Before you say that you know Brahman, make sure that you really know Brahman. Because it's so common, you know. It's so common people hear the final declarations of the Upanishad and say, I got it, I know Brahman. Brahman is the self, is the I, is consciousness, is my very nature. But they are saying that, but they are transferring a lot of attributes of objects, you know, the gunas that configurates all these objects of the body-mind complex. The teacher in the first chapter has broken that orientation by saying that Brahman is that which does not come under the category of known and unknown. It's not known, it's not unknown. It's not really known, but it is not unknown, meaning to say it may be known. It may be known, but it's not really known. So how so? It will never come under the category of known and neither on the category of unknown. It seems to be a play a philosophy, words, no, but it's a very profound and important statement or mantra. What is the point here? Do you remember in Kenopanishad, if there are important mantras, these are the ones because they change your orientation, change of your orientation. We want to touch, feel, hear, taste, and get to know the world through the five senses and the mind. And now we have to know Brahman from a totally different orientation, which does not involve the five senses and the mind that objectifies the world. Without this change of orientation, you may study Vedanta for 25 billion births, and yet you remain ignorant, not knowing. Remember, Brahman should be changeless. Now, he played a joke. He says, if you study Vedanta with this old orientation, you may go through so many births and nothing will change. And then he said, remember, Brahman should not change as well. But student should change, meaning to say you should grow with within your qualifications and purity and refinement. So it's the change within the changeless consciousness. Superimposed on consciousness, there is the body mind and needs to go through change. So when we say, oh, I don't change, I know myself, I never change. Okay. Your body mind change. So I'm just saying here, the student should change. And when you change, you can change to become a better instrument of knowledge or an inferior. You can go up and down. Therefore, that orientation must be broken. Brahman does not come under either known or unknown category. Therefore, you can never say, I do not know Brahman, but you can never also say, I know Brahman. That's a good student would say that. Why? Because if you put it as unknown and then you want to convert it into known, and you can only know things that was unknown into known things if you objectify to understand all the attributes of Brahman. But Brahman is attributeless. So anything that has any field of knowledge, scientific knowledge, so you have to really work hard to get to know those fields of knowledge to make them known to you. And it's also you get that by studying all the different aspects of that science, of that scientific knowledge to become a doctor, an engineer, a chemistry, or anything, biologist. And but here you don't know Brahman, and you cannot know Brahman from not knowing Brahman, because Brahman is beyond known and unknown. That's the point. I do not know Brahman. You will classify Brahman into the unknown category. If you say, now I know Brahman, you again categorize Brahman under known category. Okay? Therefore, while replying, you have to be very careful. Take your time. A few years. What means what? I should never say, I do not know Brahman. And I should never say, I know Brahman clearly. Upanishads use the word Suveda. Naveda, Suveda. I do not know, or I know Brahman. Suveda means I know Brahman. Naveda means I do not know Brahman. You should never say any of those things because Brahman is beyond knowledge and ignorance. Brahman is that in which knowledge, ignorance is seen for what it is, objectively, within the realm of Mithya. In Mithya, we have a lot of phenomenal objects that we are compelled, attract to try to know. So we know what we know what we don't know. Brahman is that which is behind, is the ground on which knowledge and ignorance is experienced by the Jivatma. So how I'm going to say I know Brahman? And then people say it's better to be quiet, not to say anything. At the same time, you have to give an answer. The guru is very persistent and he said, no, but you need to give me an answer. Take your time, but you need to give me an answer. Do you know it or you do not know it? Brahman does not come under known category, neither unknown category means Brahman is not an object of knowledge as we know. Therefore, Brahman exists only in the form of one category. Brahman exists only in the form of one category, which is something other than known and unknown. It belongs to a third category, and then Swami goes about making some suspense. He says this is the new orientation, and we require this orientation. For those who study Vedanta, the new orientation required is it's Brahman is something other than known and unknown. What is this third category? Do not say nothing, emptiness. No, it's not that. Nothing and emptiness is something that is also available for knowledge, objective knowledge. The third category, other than known and unknown, is what? It's the knower, the subject principle. So you have known, unknown, and the knower. Huh? You have the knower, the true nature of the knower, consciousness, and then you have the category of things you know and things you do not know. You have knowledge and ignorance, and then you have the true nature of the knower as consciousness. So the orientation is I have to find out Brahman as my very nature. What nature? The true nature of the knower, the experiencer, the seer. Huh? Which is conscious existence of non-dual nature. So the true nature of the knower alone is the subject. And the subject will never come under object category as well, under unknown object. That which is the true nature of the knower, you can never say, I do not know. And that comes to a more practical element. Nobody can say clearly, I don't know consciousness, because we need to have consciousness to say, I don't know consciousness. You understand? I understood God is consciousness. Consciousness is a mystery. Okay, we never know really how it comes about, reflected in a human being. But they say, I heard that there is such a thing as a limitless non-dual consciousness. Do you know consciousness? Yes and no. I can never say I don't know consciousness because I am experienced. I am experienced this consciousness 24/7. Yeah? I'm experienced this knowledge, this consciousness 24/7. Do you know? Yes, of course I know. And they'll say, no, I mean, the true nature of Brahman is existence. Okay, so do you know? Well, I mean, I know that I exist. Is that good enough? Huh? So to say that I know existence, huh? Is it good enough to say I experience consciousness? So we know some. We nobody can say I am totally ignorant in respect to to my conscious existence. No? So this is the knower's nature. You never come under unknown object. We always know. And also, you will never know for sure what it is. Mhm. You never know for sure what it is. Uh, So, what is this? Your true nature is conscious existence of non-dual nature. Uh, So the category, the new orientation category, you have to, rather than try to find known and unknown Brahman, try to know to understand the third category, which is the true nature, the nature of the one trying to know the unknown Brahman, to convert it to known Brahman. So look to the consciousness, the true nature of the knower category, which is the subject principle. So the third category is a non-extrovert category in which you don't look out to things that you do not know that you want to convert in known. You don't look out for that, you know. You stop that orientation, extroversion, and then you look for the nature, the true nature of the mind as consciousness. And then consciousness knows what it knows what it does not know. Consciousness is beyond knowledge and ignorance, and this consciousness is Brahman that we know, and once you know, you never forget that you are that, but you never know it to the point of saying, I know it completely. You understand? I know it in all details because it's impossible. Something has no attribute, but it's your true nature, and that becomes clear to you. You just say, yes, I shift my sense of identity now from the body mind to consciousness. Somehow I know I am consciousness, and that has freed the mind, my body mind, from a lot of problems and fears and desire. And so now I live a much better life. But we never know the specifics of what is this conscious existence. It's the very nature of the knower. And then Swam says, and don't look up, down, inside, or outside. It's the nature of the Atma, the self, the I. Brahman is not an extraordinary entity. Brahman is the most ordinary entity available as the meaning of the word aham. Brahman is not a new entity, it's the status of the Atma. Therefore, I have to understand Brahman as that which is neither known nor unknown, but it's the consciousness, I. And when I claim I am Brahman, at that time the meaning of the word I must be very, very carefully taken. Okay? Say, I know Brahman as consciousness, the only reality. I know Brahman as we, yeah? We used to put in the language of Ramji. I know Brahman as Brahman. I know consciousness as consciousness. If you are not clear about what this aham is, you may have problems. In this Brahmayanan process, yeah, self inquiry and self knowledge, the knowledge of the true nature of consciousness as Brahman, the most important thing is employing the word I correctly, rightly, in the right sense. What is the right sense? I am the Chaitanya which pervades and enlivens the body mind. I am attributeless Chaitanya. I am the attributeless consciousness. This attributeless consciousness is Brahman. Therefore, I'm not taking any of the attributes of the body mind when I'm making this statement. The student comes up with a brilliant answer, the student here in the kennel. Before that, the teacher is giving a warning. Hey, you have the answer. Just calm down. Are you sure that it's going to be a good answer? As a result of listening to the first chapter, if you say, I clearly know Brahman, do not think as a teacher. The teacher will be very happy. Normally, in any student scientific classroom, the student becomes very happy if the teacher becomes very happy. The student says, "I know Brahman clearly and fully." Now, then you know Brahman very very little. The student of Vedanta would say, if you say that I know it completely and clearly, you know very little. Little you know of Brahman, Brahmanaha Rupa, the real nature of Brahman. So Brahman is Svarupa, which is obtained only in the human being, in the mind of a human jiva. The first refers to Brahma's Svarupa, must be understood the nature of Brahman. So neither you know the nature of Brahman in jiva, nor do you know the nature of Brahman obtained in the Devas or Ishvara. So he's referring to the two natures of Brahman. Brahman manifests through the gunas of Maya as Ishvara, the supreme intelligence. You say, I know Ishvara completely. I know Saguna Brahma completely. So we don't know. We don't know because Saguna Brahman is something so limitless in terms of knowledge, you know. So its knowledge is is so huge. We'll never understand the mind of God. Uh, you neither know the nature of Saguna Brahman nor totally know the nature of Nirguna Brahman. That is, neither you know Jivatma very clear nor do you know Paramatma very clearly. So we don't understand completely the nature of Ishvara. We don't understand very clear the entire nature of the Jiva Atma in its substantial nature as well, because the human psychology is so complex as well, and the way we function and so on. We are trying to understand the nature, the substantial body-mind nature of the Jiva Atma, but we don't know it completely. It was designed by Ishvara, the Supreme Intelligence. We don't understand very much the Jiva Atma. We don't understand very much Ishvara Atma, and we do not know very clear Paramatma either. Okay? So that's the point of this chapter. Okay, we know very little, but yet the Upanishad says that it's possible to know your true nature in Brahman as Brahman. Okay, do you know the Atma either in the individual or the totality? This conclusion is under what condition? If you say, I know everything about, Ishvara, you know, before answering this, the reply you may analyze very well. If you want to, if you want, you can take one more week or a few more years before you answer, the Guru says. Take as much time as you need and then present your answer. So the students, what did he do in that position? Shankaracharya, in his commentary, says, even though the student, the disciple, has grasped the teaching very well, but because the teacher gave an additional warning, the student withdrew from the teacher and spent a few more years quietly practicing Shravana Manana Nididhyasana before presenting his answer to the test. After a long time, he felt that he has understood clearly or unclearly, but he had a good answer, he believed. I understood the teachings very well. Now I can tell. And therefore, he came in front of the teacher, and Shankaracharya says that Jagarja, like a lion, the student rolled the answer in front of the teacher. The student was fully confident. And what was the answer of the student? I think I have clearly grasped your teachings, Guruji. Grasped? Grasped what? What meaning? What's the meaning of this grasp? What has been grasped by you? The teaching has been grasped. Brahman has been grasped by me very, very clearly because your teaching is fantastic. Well, he is trying to seduce the guru. Then the problem will come if the student says, I have grasped Brahman very well. Brahman will again become what? Same problem. It's an object of grasping. Thus, this reply may lead to some more misunderstanding. Therefore, the student himself elaborates a reply in the next mantra in a very elegant and careful manner. This is a very often quoted mantra, the mantra 2 of the second chapter. The disciple said, I think I know Brahman. I do not think I know it well, nor do I think I do not know it completely. He among us who knows the meaning of neither do I know nor do I know knows Brahman. I mean, beautiful answer. You know, beautiful answer. Right there in the middle. He among us who knows. Rare are the ones among us who knows the meaning of I neither do I not know nor do I know Brahman. This is the one who knows Brahman. It's not something knowable or unknowable. It's something that must be claimed as one's true nature, although we'll never know in truth what it is, uh, to be conscious existence of limitless nature. It's very beautiful. It's very profound. First, the student points out that he will never fall into the pitfall of the guru. The teacher has given him a warning, and he took his time before presenting his answer. He understood Brahman never comes under the non-category or non-category. Therefore, the student says, I will never say I know Brahman. I will never say I know Brahman because I know once I say I know Brahman, Brahman will come under a non-category. Hence, that blunder I will not do. I do not consider I know Brahman. I do not consider I do not know Brahman. He says that pitfall also I will not fall. I can't say I know it. I can't say I do not know it. I do not know also. I will not say. I know. I will not say. I do not know. I will not say because Brahman does not come under either of one of these two categories, known and unknown. The student could say, the only thing I can say is I am that Brahman. But then the teacher says, and what is this Brahman? And then the student will say, I don't know. It's more or less on those lines. I'm so in love with this text and I want to move on with it. So I suggest on Friday we do again the Kino, okay? To move on with this because I will have to unfold it in Portuguese language. And then I think it's good we stay. Yeah. Now it's just the day of tomorrow, and then everything becomes more fresh. I'm gonna suggest Mark to see this video now. This okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. We meet again in day of tomorrow, okay? Okie dokie.